Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Road to GT Academy 2013. This is on cornering, as you can see from this nice little picture. This will be in all the sort of thumbnails now on with the episode number, so you can easily identify the video series. If you haven't watched the first one on braking and accelerating, I would recommend to go watch that, because obviously that's the core basics of racing, and it's something you will apply in every video really, involving racing and Gran Turismo and driving in general. This episode I'm going to talk about a few pointers on cornering. I can't cover everything because otherwise it would be like 5 hours long, but I'm going to talk about trail braking, using the accelerator and throttle control to get around corners, understeer, a bit on oversteer, anchor points on corners. Obviously they give you extra turning and things like that. And then we'll talk about prioritising different corners, and I'll do that by going through a full lap of Spa and how you would prioritise each corner, letting you do that first and then saying how I would prioritise it. So first of all, trail braking. Basically, I'll have 3 pieces of video coming up. One, it's all of the same corner. One's of me driving. My best lap in GT Academy 2011. It's on the Eiffel track on the first corner. Then we'll have Outburner's lap, well, first corner, and then we'll have Tytex. Now obviously Outburner and Tytex are very, very good drivers. I'd only just started playing with the wheel at this point, but obviously I did get a good time as well because I qualified with that time. And it's just to show you how many drivers use trail braking in order to brake later and into the corner itself, and then have less time of rolling through the corner. With trail braking as well, it does 3 things to the car, which can help you. Obviously it gets rid of speed as you're turning in, so you can brake a bit later coming up to the corner, because you're then going to brake in the corner rather than brake before the corner and roll through. So it increases your sort of braking distance, so you can overtake better. You can go into a corner further, increase your improve your lap time. Obviously, you're doing less of nothing, because you'll be braking a lot more and accelerating earlier in the time difference. It allows you to rotate the car. Now you're probably wondering what I'm on about now. If you turn in, obviously you get the turning of the wheel. Now you might get understeer because of that, because you might have gone in a bit quick. With trail braking, because obviously you can get rid of speed in the corner, if you think about braking, all the weight goes forward when you brake. Now if you're braking in a corner, the weight still goes forward because obviously you're slowing down. And what that does is it makes the rear of the car very light, because the momentum of the weight is forward, which gives the car slip. So if the car slightly rotates, you don't want a full slide. You're controlling this with the braking. If the car rotates, you're getting more turning for the same angle of turn on the wheel. So obviously if you turn 45 degrees on the wheel, for example, and you brake and just roll through the corner at 45 degrees and then accelerate. Okay, you've done the corner. Now if you brake slightly later and trail brake in the corner, staying at 45 degrees, you could get up to 60 degrees of turning because of the weight transfer. The car's rotated a bit more. That means you can accelerate earlier. So you're getting rid of the doing nothing. You can brake sharper into the corner and you're accelerating earlier. All means an improvement of time. So what we'll do is we'll watch my lap first, and then we'll go to Outburners and then Tytex. So I just want you to look at the braking sensitivity and look at the camera and how the car's reacting. So here we go. We'll just watch this now. Notice I was on 75% for quite a while there, braking, and I was already turning in the corner as well when braking. So we'll now watch Outburner do it. 100% for quite a while again. and just gradually comes all the way off. Now he's playing with the throttle a bit there. He doesn't want to be doing nothing, he wants to be doing something. Accelerates now. Now we've got Titex. Look at that, only 100% very briefly, and then he's trail braking around 25% for most of that corner and accelerating straight out. And it's that sort of thing that I want to sort of start, you know, making sure people start doing this sort of thing to improve their lap times. Because if you're doing as Titex doing, you know, Titex was the fastest guy this year on the game. You know, he's a very good driver. He's trail braking because it's the fastest way to get around the corner. You know, he's got the ability to rotate the car, ability to shake off speed during the corner, and it means he can accelerate earlier as well. It's doing all these things, and that will all improve your time. So as you saw there, Titex doing it, Outburner's doing it, I'm doing it, all the top guys are doing it. Now you might not realise you're doing it. You know, you might be a very good driver getting in the top 100. You're looking at the replays, seeing that people are doing it. That is trail braking. You're giving that ability to move the car about in the corner, get more turning, and you're doing more with the car to get better times. Now the next piece of footage, again, trail braking. It's at Spa in a Lamborghini. It was a recent race I did. I'll just play it through and just look how I trail brake. And I've got a similar trail braking style now to Titex. I've not purposely done that. I've not watched this lap in ages. I found it the other day. But I knew I could show you this and basically apply this in a very good manner. So we'll watch that Lamborghini corner now. Here we go. 100%, 100%, 25%, 25%, accelerate. Notice very brief time in between the braking and accelerating. There's the very brief moment of doing nothing, but then I'm back accelerating. So that's a key point with trail braking. It reduces the time of doing nothing, and that's what you want to reduce. If you're doing nothing, you're not gaining time at all. If you're doing something, you probably are. Something is better than nothing. Remember that. So this piece of footage, I just wanted to show you the extreme of the weight transfer. So I'm just warming up my tyres here. I'll be weaving a bit, but on the corner, it's a long right-hander. You'll see me stop weaving, and as I hit the brakes, just look at the camera of the car and just see the weight transfer as the car slides suddenly. Now I know it's going to happen, so I catch it, but it's that this is the extreme of it and what I'm trying to apply to turning. Obviously, if you control it, you can use it, and the predictability is there, which means you can improve. So if we just watch this. There, look at that there. The car just got completely out of control. Now I'll replay this. So just watch again. Notice when I brake, the car just shoots right because of the weight. Look at that way there. And that's the key thing I want to sort of home in, is that obviously the trail braking helps, but you've got to control it as well. So I've mentioned that it reduces the nothing. That's one of the key points. But you have to be able to control it. Now the best way to practice trail braking is with ABS off. Titex races with ABS off most of the time, and what it means is it forces you to control your braking on every corner no matter what. And then it means that your left foot, because you should be left foot braking if you're on the pinnacle of times and trying to gain the extra temps. It means your left foot can get used to slight movement rather than very big jagged movements. Now it's harder for drivers who've been driving for a long period of time with their right foot because they're so used to it. So if you're 4 seconds off fastest lap, just use your right foot for a while. You can get down to at least a second off the time just using your right foot. But when you get to that point, start switching to your left foot. Or if you feel confident, switch earlier. And what that'll do is then when you start playing with the brake, you can start getting used to different angles of your foot, the percentage of braking, and then you can start applying trail braking to a more like a perfectionist sort of manner. And if you do that, then you can improve and get the vital temps that you need to get further up the leaderboard and then qualify for your national finals. So the next piece of film, let me just see what it is. Yes, it's the controlling the corner with just the throttle. So we're coming up to the right, left, right on Spa, that complex after the long straight. Now I want you to notice that I only use the accelerator, and the accelerator is going up and down in how much I'm applying the throttle, and that's just to control the turning. Now if you get to something like this where you're accelerating but you're accelerating through a number of corners, you don't really want to touch the brake, so you sort of use the throttle to balance it, get maybe a weight shift in the car to get the car turning, because if you lift off, obviously the weight transfer then becomes even. Accelerate again, the weight starts moving about and you can start pointing the car. Come off again, point the car, accelerate, go. In a rear wheel drive car you can use that to create a bit of oversteer. You'll notice in NASCARs they sort of glide through a corner, sort of a four-wheel drift, and that means they can maintain speed with the slip of the car. You can do that with this. I'll do that in this Lamborghini because the torque is based on 20 in the front wheels and 80% in the rear wheels, so it's quite rear wheel drive focused on this setup. So we'll just watch this through, and I want you to just pay attention to the throttle and then the four-wheel drift at the end. I'll just replay this. There's a bit of fast forward with the way I do this, so here we go. Just watch the throttle. I'll brake initially and then the throttle from here. Notice on and off, so up and down, up and down, up and down. There's the four-wheel drift, and there we go. Now the four-wheel drift was a bit extreme. You don't want it that much, but it had enough grip to then catch itself. You know, I wasn't correcting that at all. It was just accelerating through the corner. So it'd be a bit less than that, but the point is you can use that to accelerate out of a corner with sort of still a degree of turning. So we've talked about using the accelerator and brake just to get through a corner. Now sometimes, this is GT Academy 2011 again, you'll get points where you've got so much understeer you have to do nothing in order to get around the corner. What you can do is sort of aim for an apex before it's even there. Now if you've watched my X2010 video, I talked about pad lag, and before control sensitivity you had to point to an apex that wasn't there yet, so that the car would then react by the time it was there, because it was so fast. And it's a similar sort of situation where here I will aim towards more the grass, because I know the understeer will kick me out and I'll then hit the apex. And it's that sort of thing where you sort of point a car, if it's going to understeer, you point it into the corner before it's there, because then you will hit the apex and then you can go through the corner. It's a bit hard to explain. If you want a full video on understeer and oversteer and things like this, I don't mind making a detailed video on it, but I'm trying to shove everything into sort of like a 20-minute-ish video. So I'll show you this, and then you'll be able to see sort of how I point the car, let it roll through, and then you're going to see sort of throttle and brake control again to make sure the car is stable and predictable and controllable. So I'll just play this through. I might rewind this slightly if it starts lagging again. It's just the way I do videos. Here we go. Notice I point to just, it's about 2 meters on the inside of the corner if I was to give a distance. It's before the corner, and because of the understeer, it actually pushes me out. Now I slightly miss the apex by a few meters as well, and that's the thing where if I'd have pointed it a bit more to the inside, I would have hit the apex and I could accelerate a tiny bit earlier. And it's all these little tweaks that you have to do in cornering in order to improve your overall lap time. I don't know if you noticed that as well, some of my braking and accelerating, just, you know, coming off using the brake slightly to get turning as well. I'll just play that through again, a bit further back than that. Here we go. So you can look at my throttle and braking on this one as well. So obviously I get my turn in there. Now watch how I use the throttle here. Just up and down, up and down. Slight bit of brake to get the car turning in. accelerating through the corner. And it's that sort of thing where you start controlling the way you brake and accelerate to get the car to turn as well, and that's where you gain the additional time. So obviously you can gain time up to a point, but then it's the car control that gets you the extra little bit. So on that, we are now going to look at how sort of the weight transfer of trail braking can help with a bit of understeer, give you oversteer on a very sharp corner. Corners like this at Madrid with the long hairpin, you will have to do nothing at some point because it's such a long corner, but you're trying to aim for a quick apex to accelerate out very quickly. So if you just watch the weight transfer of the car, it gives me a lot extra turning, but allows me to then hit the apex earlier, even though there's understeer with the car. So I'll just play it from here. If you watch the oversteer, which helps with the understeer. There's the weight transfer, there's the oversteer. It's giving me more turning. Now I can accelerate earlier. Now I'm accelerating fully out of the corner. So that was using oversteer to help with the understeer. And you can do that on any corner really. With the trail braking or using a rear wheel drive car to, you know, conquer the understeer. Obviously you want to do that with a setup if you can, but you know, this is car control here that you can also use to help with that particular problem of understeer. So obviously oversteer can become a problem. As you recognise by this video footage, I've talked about this in that tutorial on the round 8.5 of GT Academy 2012. The exit of the last corner here, this car's got lots and lots of torque. So if you exit this corner in second gear, you're going to get power oversteer, which is going to give you a big slide and make you lose time. Now to me, making sure I had enough grip on the exit was far more important for a lap than getting an extra mile an hour. So I controlled my throttle in the corner, knowing that if I went any more on the throttle I'd get oversteer, because I didn't want to oversteer at that point. But I changed gear as well so that I know the car is stable, and that's something else I want to keep going on about really, is that if you've got a stable car, it's a predictable car, and you can control the car. So we'll just play this through and just watch the gear change and just the controllability of the car. So I'll trail brake again here, I'll get the turn in there, now I'm controlling the throttle, change gear, and I know I can accelerate out very easily, and you know, I've got control of the car and I'm going to the line. I know that was very brief on oversteer there, but I've talked about oversteer in many videos, so I didn't want to sort of talk about it for too long. If you want a full video on oversteer, like again, leave a comment below, PM me, and I will happily do a video fully on oversteer and the different types of oversteer with different cars, how to sort of control it, and I think I will do a setup video at some point as well. So I mentioned anchor points at the start of the video. An anchor point is basically where you can use the inside of the curb to get free turning on the car with no cost to speed really. Rome is a perfect example. It's got all these corners all around the track, so I'll just play it through once briefly and then I'll explain it. So not this corner, this next corner's got a bit of turning, so watch this now. Get a bit extra turning there where I'm accelerating. And now the chicane coming up has the biggest turning advantage ever, and this is a very important corner because it's got a long straight after it, if you remember from last episode. So I turn in early, that big grip of the curb there, the big anchor point, the way it dragged me left, meant I could keep my speed through the corner, and I've got a lot more speed coming out the corner, and as it's a long straight, if I was in a race that'd give me overtaking advantage, speed advantage over opponents, and anything like that. Now I applied this technique at the national finals. You know, this isn't all me telling you, oh, you could apply it like this. This is me telling you I did do this at the national finals. It was a time trial on Rome, and I can tell you that I was the fastest on this particular time trial by 7/10 to second place. Yes, 7/10. You probably are thinking, wow, that's pretty insane. That's because Rome is my favourite track, and I sort of I know the anchor points, I know the way to turn in on these corners, so I applied all that. And we had one warm-up lap and one fast lap. That's all we had. And I can tell you my warm-up lap was the second fastest lap. And then there was one person that got into the that went faster than that on their fast lap. And then my fast lap was obviously an insane lap, so I was very pleased with that, and a lot of people were pretty surprised by it. So yeah, that's the main thing with anchor points. It give you free turning. So obviously with that chicane, I'll play this through again. The chicane gives you the biggest turning boost, but say here it gives you an extra 10 degrees of turning for free whilst fully accelerating. It's like free money basically. Someone giving you money, giving you free turning. Take it. It's there. You know, use it. And then this bit is just genius. You know, it's like winning the lottery. Free turning there. Bam. Allows me to keep speed. Now obviously for that on this car you have to turn in early. For other cars you don't have to turn in as early, but it's about maintaining speed through the corner. If you go wide you are going to hit the barrier, so just be careful of that. You sort of got to perfect the turning first. Right, so I've talked about anchor points on the inside of corners. Spa has one on the outside of the corner, meaning you can accelerate earlier in the corner, knowing you're going to go wide, but knowing the curb is going to catch you. So I've got 2 laps of this. So this is the first one. If you watch, I then accelerate through the corner, and it grabs me there, the curb. Only slightly on this lap. The next lap shows it a lot more in depth. So if we watch this second lap, watch how it grabs me. Watch how I accelerate early. I can see I'm going wide, but the curb catches me, forcing me back in. It's such an advantage, things like that. Again, we're on a long acceleration period. Gains me a few miles an hour. More speed against the opponents, more time against the opponents. Anchor points, they help. In real life, you wouldn't use them as much because it damages the suspension. But we're in a game. You know, it's not real life, it's a game. But we can use it. You sort of go to the environment you've got, really. If you could do it in real life, you would do it in real life. It's the same with anything, really. So use the anchor points. They're there for you to gain time, and if you use them as best as you can, you'll gain lots of time. So finally, I know I've been quite quick with some of these points, but the video's getting quite long already. We're going to do a full lap of Spa, and I want you to prioritise the corner and or complex of corners, and then I'll then say how I prioritised the corner as I was learning this track. Now this was a Sucker Free Sunday event that Ronan host. Anyone's welcome, and it's an all-day event, so you just pop in whenever you want, do a race, and then you can leave if you want, or keep racing. Very clean guys. So apologies for the voices, because this was recorded live. This is me playing. I want you to sort of prioritise the corners. You've got low, medium, high, and you will have the most important corner as well. So low, medium, high, and most important. So we will play this through now. I want you to prioritise the first corner. You can do that now, and then I'll pause it after. If you said high priority, I would probably be agreeing with you the most, to be honest. If you said low, I wouldn't be agreeing with you at all. Why, you say? Basically because it's a long acceleration period, and I said this in the previous video, and I'll say this in any video I ever do to anybody. Sharp corners with long straights or long acceleration periods afterwards are very important at corners. They should be one of the first corners you focus on to improve time, because you gain a lot more speed on the exit of a corner than the entrance. if you can gain enough time with the acceleration period, so say after a rouge, the next corner, you're going to have 15 seconds of acceleration, big period of speed there, you know, lots of time. If you gain a tenth per second on that bit, you know, you might be quite a low skilled driver trying to improve. You gain a tenth every second there, bam, that's a lot of time suddenly. Now I can tell you, when I started this event on the Sunday, I started off hitting, I think, the sec time at the top on 37.4 or 5 or 6 or something around that. You'll see my sector time in a minute at that. Judge for yourself. So I would say that's a high priority corner. Right, we've got a rouge coming up next. Prioritise the corner.
Very good.
Remember, you got low, medium, high, and most important. So I'll just pause that there. Now, I sort of gave the clue away there after the first corner. This corner, to me, is the most important corner on Spa. You know, it's legendary for a reason, because of the speed you carry up it. But this acceleration period after is so long that it's the most important. If you can maintain a few more miles an hour speed through Eau Rouge and carry it through all of Eau Rouge, you're going to have more speed to overtake, gain time, and everything else. Now, I mentioned that I was in the 37s when I got to the sector time that's coming up. Look at what I'm at now, and I can tell you, well, I will tell you at the end of the sector what my fastest was, because I remember from the day. If you keep watching. So I was in the 37s, the late 37s. I'm in the 36.6. I've improved on the first corner and Eau Rouge, and I'm suddenly on 36.6. I can tell you I had a 36.3 there with no slipstream. That's how much it affects the lap time. So obviously, if you can nail them both when you're going for these time trial events, where you know every bit of time counts, these very important corners really do count for a lot with long periods of acceleration afterwards. Right, we're coming up to the next complex of corners, because obviously it's a corner after a corner after a corner. It will then mean you one part of the corner will then affect another corner. So I want you to prioritise this complex of corners. It's going to be the right, left, right. Apologies again for the voices. It's live at the time. Right, so I ran a bit wide there. I would say on this track they are probably low priority. That set of corners. As you can see, I didn't do very well that lap. There's this a bit of acceleration here, but you're coming up to a braking point straight away in this car, so it was quite a very low prioritization, especially compared to all the other corners on this track. If you're rating it as high or the most important, you're way off. To be honest, way off. You need to reevaluate how you look at corners and how that corner then affects your time. So once again, let's prioritise the next corner. And we'll go for the corner afterwards as well, because one affects the other. Don't tell me. Right. Now, if you said medium, that's where I would place this, medium. You know, you got this acceleration bit here, but it's not high priority because we're about to brake again soon. I'd rate it more than low, because obviously if you can get a good power out here, you're going to gain a lot of time. It's just the way the corner's laid out. So I would actually put this at a medium. Low, you wouldn't be wrong. High, I think you're rating it a bit too high compared to other corners on the track. I'd definitely put it in the medium sort of area of priority. So obviously you're going to focus the most importance first, then the highs, then the mediums, and then the lows are the last. And the lows are the ones where, if you're on an absolute fast lap, the lows you're not really going to push the limits on, because you know you can gain a lot more time elsewhere. So that's the sort of thinking behind this. So obviously we've got the next long left coming up. Prioritise the corner. Right, now this is a toughie really, because this is definitely more depending on the car rather than the actual corner. Now to me, in this situation, if you saw the long period of acceleration I had there, I would rate this quite highly, to be fair. Not as high as the first corner, definitely not, but you know, it's higher than all the rest. Obviously Eau Rouge is the most important, but it's third in line at the moment on priority, that, just because if you get it right you're going to gain a lot more speed through the corner. Now if you can imagine a Ghost, say on 133 miles an hour here, we'll just knock off 10, you're going to go straight through that Ghost and ahead of that Ghost. That's the sort of time you're gaining by nailing these corners correctly with long acceleration periods after. So we've got the next complex of corners, which is a right and then a left. Once again, prioritise the corner. So who would I agree with here? I would say with that corner you're talking low again. It's, you know, it's nothing major. You're about to brake again any second. Obviously these low corners will matter in the end if you're going for the top ultimate time. But when you're, say, 2 seconds off the time, they don't matter that much compared to these big corners where you gain a far more time. So I would rate this as a low again. You know, it's a bit more than the right left right earlier on in the lap, mainly because of the speed of the corners that you're doing, but it's not up there with the other corners. So we're gonna put the next two corners together as well. So let's prioritize these corners as well, this complex. Right, so I gave this away previously in the video with the anchor point. I'd rate this as a high priority corner, and I'd rate this higher than the first corner as well, because obviously you're going to brake for Eau Rouge. This is a very long acceleration period as well, and because you've got the anchor point as well, it means you can gain more time. So it's second on the list, that complex. Especially the second part of it, because of obviously the acceleration period. Medium, I could understand why you would say medium, because obviously the first part's not as important as the second part. If you said low, no, I disagree with that. And it's, some people may rate it as the most important. I don't see it as the most important, mainly because at this point you're wanting to make sure you get the lap finished. As a corner, yes, you're going to be accelerating for a long period, but Eau Rouge has more time to gain compared to that corner. So now I will play it till the next corner. I want you to prioritise just the next corner coming up. There we go. So, where would you prioritise that, would you say? I would say medium. It's medium to low, really. It's more important than the right left right, and it's more important than the right left just before in the lap. But it's not above any of the other corners, really. At this point in the lap, you're just trying to play safe, because you're about to come up to the 200-meter board where the braking point is, and obviously you're just trying to get around the corner and make sure you hit this braking point to complete the lap. So it's a medium priority corner in the fact that you need to complete the lap, but obviously you're just trying to play it safe, really. So obviously we've got the last corners coming up. Let's prioritise this complex, and we'll see how you've done. I got a bit of oversteer there. Right. Where did you prioritise that? Now this is a very tricky one. If you're starting a lap, it's a medium priority corner. So you've got this acceleration bit here. It's medium. If you're finishing a lap, it's a low. And that's the key thing to remember with this sort of situation. And any qualifying time you're trying to do, the start of the lap is actually quite important. The end of a qualifying lap is less important because you're just making sure you cross the line. The start you can gain a lot of speed from. So yeah, you would have to play about with this. Obviously some corners, last corners are more effective than others. But I would rate that as a medium really, if I was going to average it. And that is how I prioritise Spa corner wise. Now I do this to all tracks. I think about the corners, think about where I will gain the most time, look at sector times, look at how I can improve, adapt lines and things like that. I know I didn't talk about lines in this, but if you want a video on cornering and lines, I'm happy to do one of those as well. Obviously this was on cornering, but it's the techniques of cornering rather than driving of the corner. If you've got any suggestions for videos, as I said throughout this video, leave a comment below, PM me, do whatever you want to get in touch. I am thinking about doing detailed videos of each at some point. I've also thought about sort of track guides to help people with lines on the tracks. That's it for this video. Next one's on consistency. You can see by my lap times in the top right, 2:19s there, quite consistent. Want to sort of get used to consistency, I'll explain how you can improve on that. And that's it for this video, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.